Hey everybody, welcome back to A Gut Feeling. I'm gonna do a little something different today, and I'm very, very excited about it. So excited that I had to jump into it and forgot about an intro, but let's just go. Let's go with it. So I want to talk about breaking diet culture, and I'm going to spend this whole month talking about it. So today is part one. I'm going to break it down over 4 episodes because it's so important to me and it has become a very common theme with my client. Typically, I talk about gut health and hormone health and getting labs done and checking the science behind it, elimination protocols and candida diets and all the things, right? But what I've come to really realize in my 5, 6 years of coaching is no matter what protocol, no matter what diet, no matter how much kale you're eating or how much exercise you're doing, what it really comes down to is breaking away from this negative self-sabotaging behavior that comes from old patterns, and then finding this insatiable self-love that is bulletproof, where no one or anything can break the bond that you have with yourself. And at the core of this, it all comes back to you. So it's serious. It's a big topic. That's why I want to spend a couple weeks on it here, a couple different podcasts on it. Today, I really want to talk about what diet culture is, how it's showing up in your life, and what you need to do to start shifting your mindset away from it. Before I get into that, let me share a little bit about my story with diet culture because it is a rough one, let me tell you. I mean, most of you guys know if you listen to a Gut Feeling podcast and have listened to previous ones that I've had quite the journey to health. And, a lot of it was centered around what I believed my body could do. And I say this a lot, but you truly cannot heal a body you hate. But I hated my body for so long. When I was growing up, I was sick all the time. And then in my teens, I was very anxious. I hated my body no matter what it looked like. And, my skin was really bad. So I was super self-conscious about that. And then on top of all of that, and I share this stuff with you guys because I know you can relate to it. I know that you can be sitting there right now being like, yep, this has happened to me too. This is what I went through. And so that's why I feel like it's important to share, because many times we think, oh, this is only happening to me or I'm alone in this situation, but it's not true. There's many, many, many people going through the same things that you think and go through all the time, especially women. So this was very apparent to me. Side note, this became very apparent to me in my retreat that I hosted last weekend. I did a virtual retreat for 12 women. It was absolutely incredible to bring that many women together that were all, sort of struggling with the same thing and thinking, here I am, I'm alone in this situation, but really there was so much strength in numbers in that. So I'm really tapping into community and trying to connect people because you're not alone. There are many people going through the same things. And this is why week after week, I show up and I talk about this stuff so that you're not. I felt so alone on my journey for so long, but never realized that there are other people going through what I'm going through out there. So I love to connect people. If you are someone that's listening and you're having trouble finding people to connect with, or in this healing journey, but it feels like no one else around you is, you don't have anyone to talk to, please reach out to me. It's very important that I provide community for you because I want you to heal with people around you. I don't want you to feel alone. It's 10 times worse to go through it. So number one, shoot me an email, Jaclyn@JaclynReneeWellness.com if you do feel alone on your journey, and I'm happy to connect and provide community for you. So here we are talking about this healing journey that I was going through, sick as a kid, very anxious as a teenager. And then I sort of stepped into holistic health around the age of 20. And inside of stepping into holistic health, I dove right into what I felt like I should be doing. super restrictive, extremely, limiting at what I was eating, trying to focus on, extreme exercise, extreme dieting, all of this stuff to get my body to feel better. All the while, the common theme was that I was not good enough, or that I don't know if I'm ever going to get better, because even doing these extreme protocols, I didn't get there. And so I started to question this. It took me about 5 years to question it, guys, by the way. So if you're on your healing journey and it's just started and this information is coming to you, this is pure liquid gold, because this stuff didn't come until 5, 10, sometimes 15 years later in my journey, since it started at the age of 20. And, if I would have had it in the beginning, it would have been amazing. So here we are. I'm stepping into this restrictive world. I'm cutting everything. I'm focused on food. And what happens? I start to develop serious anxiety around food. Everywhere I went, every restaurant, every person's house, every time I was around any food, I would start to get super sick. I would feel anxious. I would get bloated from being anxious. And I would start to think, this food is going to hurt me. And I created a pattern. I created a very devastating pattern that food was evil, that even healthy food sometimes would not serve me. And if it wasn't gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, organic, of the highest caliber, that there was no way I was going to put it in my body, or otherwise it was going to make me sick. By developing that story, I created what is basically like some type of eating disorder. And a lot of people call it orthorexia, this like extreme obsession with being healthy or the healthiest thing. And it created so much anxiety inside of me that I felt stuck. I felt like I couldn't go anywhere. I felt like I couldn't eat anything, no matter what I did, looked at, ate, anything. It was making me bloated. It was making me anxious. It was making me feel bad. And so when I started to peel back the layers of the story, which again took a lot of time, I started to realize that it wasn't about the protocol. It wasn't about the restrictive food. It wasn't any of this stuff that was going to make me feel better. The only thing that could make me feel better, not a doctor, not a practitioner, not a massage, nothing, was me. The only thing that could make me feel better was me. But it wasn't about me controlling it more and doing more for this situation. It was about me surrendering to allow my body to heal, surrendering to the fact that I can heal, that I deserve to heal, and that I am actually healing right now. Once I stepped into that, and again, it took time, but once I truly stepped into that power, things began to change majorly for me. And as the same way with my clients, when I get them to step into that power, things change for them drastically. It's about turning around the mirror and looking at your body, looking at your face, looking into your eyes and saying, I love you. I know you are capable of doing what I need to do. And I know that you can make these choices to get me there. So it's less about control and it's more about integrity. Okay. I love this term that we came up, this tagline I came up with one of my clients. It's less about control and it's more about integrity. Trying to control food and every situation and everything around you only creates more fear and more anxiety. Surrendering into it and allowing food to heal you, allowing love to be around you is the way to find healing versus diet culture. So let's break in and talk about what is diet culture, because you might be listening thinking, I don't even know what this is. But diet culture is everywhere around us. It's in magazines, it's in the movies, it's in TV, it's in and it's everywhere on social media, right? Every time you go and scroll, if you're watching me on YouTube right now and you can see me, I'm raising my hand. Raise your hand if you scroll through social media and you start to think bad about yourself. You start to think, I am not doing enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not tan enough. Oh, I wish I could go to that place that person is. I wish I could go on vacation. Oh, look at that person doing that job that I wish I could be doing. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be doing this. And, my good friend MB Menino always says, we do not should on ourselves, because that's just creating more anxiety, and it's creating more of a story that you are not enough, but you are. So diet culture is constant keeping up with this idea of what we are supposed to look like, of what we're supposed to eat, of how we're supposed to exercise and supposed to act. But at the true core of it, it's really all about complete and utter bioindividuality. It's all about what your body needs, what your body wants, what your body is craving, the type of vitamins and minerals your body needs. What works for one person can be another person's poison. Just because, Joe Schmo tried keto diet and had success doesn't mean that Jane Doe is going to try keto diet and have success. She may become more sick, and vice versa. So it's really important to tap into what's important for you and find out what you need versus what everyone else is telling you to do. Even me, even if I'm saying things out loud right now and I'm telling you basically what to do or how to think or what you can do to change something, it doesn't mean that I'm right for you. It doesn't mean that I have the answer for you. It just means what I'm asking you to do is to look inside of you and become your own North Star, to figure out your own situation of what you need. Now, of course, coaches, doctors, practitioners, they can help you get there, but it's very important to have the right one. I always say this, that when the time is right for you, when you're ready, the teacher will show up. So if I showed up on your feed or I am in your face right now, maybe I'm your teacher. So, but you never really know. It's all about connecting to the person that you need to be fully, and then that other person can show up for you. Like, I have a business coach, I have a life coach, I have a functional medicine doctor. I rely on these people for me to connect with, to help me, but to not decide things for me, to help me get to a decision together so that I can make this decision for myself, or, just bouncing ideas off of people. It's important to really connect with your practitioner. So diet culture is basically a feeling of that you need to or have to be something that you may not be, or that you have to weigh a certain weight. It's basically a story that you or society has created in your life of that you're not enough and that you need to be this. So what is a healing journey? A healing journey is when you surrender. It's when you allow yourself to make choices for your healing journey with integrity, not control, right? Not control. Only integrity gets you to a place where you feel fully abundant inside your healing journey. A healing journey is where you show up for yourself authentically and feed your body the nutrients you know it needs. Give yourself time to prioritize yourself, because we are constantly pleasing other people, doing things for other people, making things for other people, and we forget about the most important person in our life. And again, for those of you who are watching, you can see me pointing at me, or I should be pointing at you, but that is the most important in your life, not anyone else outside. Even if you are a mom and you have kids, or you're a dad and you have kids, you're the most important person, because if you don't work, how do you work for your children? So you have to fill your cup first. It's all about filling your cup and making sure that you feel really good to show up for everyone else. Okay? If you feel depleted, if you're listening and you feel depleted right now, take a nap. Every time you don't feel good, or you have bad thoughts or you're anxious or anything, just take a nap. I learned that from Abraham Hicks. She's been a huge sort of mentor, even though I'm just listening to her on Spotify and iTunes. She's been a huge mentor for me lately. And she says this all the time. She's like, if it's not working for you, just take a nap. And of course, everything is so much better after you take a nap. You just feel so much more refreshed. Okay, so right now I want to ask you a question. Are you committed to the healing journey, or are you stuck in diet culture? And if you are stuck in diet culture, how can you shift your mindset to get out of it? Now, I was conversating with a client last night after our session, and we were talking a little bit about how it always, 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 always comes back to you. You are your home. You are the person you need to seek love from. You are the person that you need to find everything from, the answers, the decisions, everything in your life. So everything turns back around on yourself. So when it relates to showing up to eat better food, or getting to the gym, or drinking more water, or reading over watching TV, or watching something positive over watching something negative, or being stuck in a pattern where you're negative versus getting into a place where you can shift to a positive mindset, it all comes back to you and how you show up for yourself and how you value yourself. So I want to talk a little bit about values. We did this in my retreat, and it was extremely motivational and inspiring and helpful for the women inside the retreat to connect and look into their values to be able to show up for themselves. So if you guys are listening and you're not driving, don't do this if you're driving, but Google list of values. Okay. So hundreds will come up. There's a bunch of different values out there. And inside all of these values, some of them will pop out to you and you will relate to them. Once you find a few that you relate to, I want you to write them down. Underneath the value, I want you to write what this value means to you. I'll give you an example in a little bit, okay? Once you write what that value means to you, I then want you to write 3 things that keep you in alignment with that value. And then after that, I want you to write 3 things that pull you away from that value. And then at the end, I want you to write a statement about that value, something that connects you to it, okay? So let me give you an example. So self-love, self-worth is a huge value for me. Every time I check back in with my values, which is multiple times a year, I always feel connected to the value of self-love, self-worth, okay? So what does that value mean to me? It truly, truly means that I will show up for myself. It means that I will continue to find what I need inside of myself. 3 things that keep me towards that value are writing down gratitude every day, knowing what I feel abundant for and I feel grateful for in my life keeps me really happy and keeps me feeling abundant with what I have. It keeps me in my self-love. Number 2, another thing that gives me self-love is affirmations. Saying or listening to affirmations daily helps me continue to stay in this positive mindset, in the high vibe zone of loving myself and feeling that what I need from myself, saying affirmations. And then the third thing that contributes to my self-worth is keeping the right people around me, having the right community, so that when I feel lost and I go to search for something from a person around me, a friend or family member, I know that there's another high vibe person bringing in positivity to my life and feeding into the self-worth and self-love, and not talking negative, gossiping, making me feel worse about things. It's more about high vibe. So community is big for me in self-worth. Now, what are 3 things that keep me away from self-worth? And I know you guys can relate to this, okay? So don't try to even say you don't. Scrolling on social media, comparing myself to others, which those can kind of go together, right? Jealousy, things that come up for me that make me feel like I'm not enough, or even allowing people into my life who don't make me feel like I'm enough. I'm sure everybody has friends or maybe even family that have been in their life where every time they come around, they just make you feel bad. Maybe it's an energetic thing. Maybe it's them projecting their insecurities onto you. Maybe it's just not a connection. Sometimes it's just not a connection. Whatever it is, for me, it was part of my growth and part of my journey to get, it sounds so mean, but to just pull away from these people. I had to pull away from people like this because if I wanted to operate on a really high level, I had to remove things and people from my life that were not operating on a high level because it was holding me back and making me feel bad about myself. And you know what? I used to feel selfish for saying that, but I don't feel selfish for saying that anymore. And neither should you. Everything is about you. It all comes back to relating to you. So it's really important to connect with what is true to you. If you don't feel good around people, if you don't feel like you can be yourself and you get a bad feeling, then you don't have to be around that person. You don't have to be around those people. Find people that high vibe you, that put you into a really good place, especially when you need them, and that you do that to them too. I always say, leave people better than you found them. And that is my goal for life. I want people to come see me or be next to me or talk to me and feel better than they did when they came to me. I always want them to feel better. But at the same time, I need to do that for myself. So I have to show up for myself too, so that I always feel better when I don't feel good as well too. All right, so let's dig in for a second and talk about how to shift your mindset when it comes to diet culture, okay? This counting calories, should I eat this? Should I not eat this? What do I do for this? What do I do for that? It's really hard when you also simultaneously have gut issues because there are many protocols and elimination diets that help, gut issues, but can push you into diet culture. So how I work with my clients on that is mindset. When you're doing something for yourself to get better, that's showing up with integrity. When we start to put guilt and shame and fear on it, that's diet culture. So it's all about verbiage. I'm going to do this. I wish I could do that. I'm trying. Those are all future tense affirmations, and they're also something that doesn't get you to show up presently. And it's very important to show up now. So I want you to start with shifting your verbiage to the present. I am going to yoga. I am healing. I am capable. I am worth it. So number one of anything is to start with your verbiage. Number two is to wake up and shift what you say immediately. Don't even let the negative come in. I want you to start waking up and saying, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm worth it, I can do this today, I'm going to nourish my body. What you say to yourself in the morning and how you affirm it is extremely important in your healing journey. And number three, I want you to go back, listen to what I said about values, and start connecting with your values. Figure out your why. Why are you showing up for this? Why do you need this in your life? Why did I show up in your life? What is important for you in your healing journey to accomplish versus getting stuck in this weight loss pattern? Because if you heal your body, truly heal your body, the weight loss will come. Okay? No joke. It happens to all of my clients. The weight loss comes. But if you keep stuck in diet culture, you're going to be on diet after diet, gaining weight, losing weight, and never truly realizing how magical and powerful your body truly is. So connect with that. Find source with that and go in. Let me know what you think too. I want to hear some feedback. So if you're watching the YouTube, you can comment below. Give me some of your feedback. I love hearing your comments. And in the meantime, if you haven't listened to what I learned on my healing journey. That's a couple podcasts back. That's an incredible podcast for you to listen to too, as for more motivation on this topic. I'll be back with part 2 next week. I'm super excited to bring you more on this breaking diet culture topic. And in the meantime, happy healing, guys. Have a great day.